Did all of you watch the Levski podcast thingy-madoodle that was out in IE?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're kind of going for that. Like that crossed with like Astropub's format.
We're going for Joe Rogan, all right? Okay? We're
Yes.
after his juggling.
Where's the blunts? Where are the blunts? I need weed. Give me weed.
Yeah,
They actually had helicopters when constructing the pyramids.
Okay, that's going in the outtakes at
the end. All right. Hey, off to a good start. All right. Good. All right. Well, I guess we start whenever then.
This is version 0. This is basically our, how do they call it in movie or shows?
Our podcast is in alpha, okay?
No, it's
This is
like, what's the first thing that they do? Sorry, what?
Rehearsal?
No, not a rehearsal.
All right. Look, welcome to the Northern Star Podcast version Alpha 1.0. All right.
It's our pilot. It's our pilot.
It's our pilot episode.
Yes.
Our pilot episode. All right. We thought it might be fun to do a monthly podcast where some of the leadership and members of Northern Star come together for a little half-hour-ish video to talk about relevant topics in Star Citizen, the Star Citizen community, and the communities around it, and Northern Star itself. We're kind of finding our footing with this, figuring out whatever we're doing, because we don't know what we're doing, and hopefully we will know what we're doing in a short period of time. I'm making this up as I go. I am accompanied today. I am Cepheus. I am the general of Northern Star, the leader of the place, and I am accompanied by, in order of importance and completely unbiased, FlyingASpaceship. What do you do in Northern Star?
I am the captain of industry, and I am the squadron leader for Prism Corp Logistics, where we run a buttload of cargo every week.
Beautiful. And then Akoree, what do you do for Northern Star?
I am the NA colonel. I basically take care of most of the NA people, but I also do much of the marketing, and I also am the squadron leader for the Ravens, which is our mecha lover squad.
And Waffle, what do you do for Northern Star?
I am the EU colonel. I run all of the EU stuff and make sure people are behaving themselves on that side of the org, and then get yelled at by Akoree when he doesn't like that I've added a new Discord channel.
Yes.
I should have added that to my resume, right? The guy that holds back the flood of new channels.
Yeah, Northern Star would have about 7,000 Discord channels if it weren't for Akoree holding that all back. So thank him for that you don't have to have like a free spinning scroll wheel on your mouse and like a can of compressed air, and it just goes, and then, that's how you get to the channel that you want.
That's how I navigate this Discord. Speak for yourself.
As far as topics go for today, we've got 4.6 to kick us off, the patch that brought us out of the doom and gloom phase that was the Christmas season for Star Citizen, as is tradition. 4.5 was a rough one. Stability definitely took quite a hit since 4.4. And 4.6 seems to be kind of bringing it back, not quite up to where 4.4 was, but kind of maybe splitting the difference between 4.5 and 4.4. A few landmark things came with this patch. The most impactful of which would probably be the Alliance 8 event. Akoree, what have you thought so far about what you've played with the Alliance 8 event?
Honestly, I thought the event was... they've gotten quite used to creating those events now. This one's been pretty flavorful. The mechanics themselves, it's stuff we've done before, right? Carrying cargo, doing combat, and whatever. What I've especially appreciated from this event is the fact that they've changed Levski to add those mushrooms, those scientists and stuff. It's not much, right, in the grand scheme of things, but it's some extra work that pretty much, I think it makes the event more tangible, right, more real. It's not like the crisis we had last year of the region crisis, right? That had no visual impact whatsoever besides the missions that told us there was a big crisis, right? This time we see it. We see that there's an actual problem at the station. We see that there's maybe we don't see that there's people that are sick. I don't remember if I've seen people sick because they're all panicking all the time.
There are definitely people around Levski that are kind of coughing and stuff. But yeah, the panic bug that was allegedly fixed in 4.6 isn't. We did see in 4 whatever it was that had the regen crisis, they did and still do actually have long lines of people at all of the hospitals that are like complaining about the regen crisis. That hasn't gone away, but it is there.
Sure, but like,
but it's less than with 4 or 6. Yeah.
Is that really what they're doing? Like,
yeah, if you listen to what they say, they're like, I didn't pay this much goddamn money for a regeneration imprint, and then be told that it has a 90% chance of not working, or something to that effect. And then the desk clerk is always like, I'll get my manager to call you. Please fuck off now. And it's actually kind of entertaining to stand there and listen to them for a few minutes.
I've actually heard these myself.
Yeah, it's actually pretty great, but it isn't. It's easy to miss. The Levski stuff, if you spend any amount of time in Levski, you'll see it quite a bit more. And yeah, did you have anything else to add on that?
No, I take back what I said about the region crisis. Then I guess but like obviously there was an impact. Maybe it just wasn't as like noticeable as this one, or as I think flavorful as this one. But yeah, otherwise positive impression of the event. Yes.
Good. Yeah, I would pretty wholeheartedly agree with the whole sentiment there. I think they're learning from these things and doing a lot better, kind of overall. Waffle, what do you think about the Alliance 8 event?
Honestly, I think it's one of the better ones that they've done. It's a lot more tame compared to Resource Drive, which we had, what was it, mid last year?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Resource Drive was just an absolute pain to grind. And you guys know me, when it comes to these events that have rewards at stake, I am one to finish them as quick as possible. Resource Drive, I think it took me 4 days. And that was, we found a loophole with that, with the Hull C, where I could basically get unlimited copper. But that was the pyro contracts. For this one, there was no loopholes really. I finished it in a whopping 27 hours. And for that 27 hours, I had a lot of fun. It was actually really, really fun.
I guess the loopholes that existed were kind of the fact that you can just share. You can get in a party with everyone in the shard and complete it in like 3 hours. And everybody shares all their missions, but I think that's lame. I think that's pretty lame. That's a lame way to go about it.
I only cooperated with org members on this. Big mention to Spartan Mario, who got like 900 pressurized ice without even realizing it was important for the event.
Amazing.
He helped me with my collections, but like overall, like the transport and combat sides of it, like we hopped in Idris and we just smashed out the entire combat side in like an hour or two, just with like 20 of us in the Idris. That was really fun.
I need to run an op for that sometime soon. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. And then for the transport side, we hopped in like small ships. Everybody, like I got in a Cutlass and a bunch of other people got in like Clippers and stuff, and we just did the little courier mission, like the little box mission that pays 150 points, and ran all of us. So there was like 20 of us just stacking contracts of those, and we had that finished in a couple hours. There was like 6 of us, by the way, so I'm really happy with the paints though. They're so good.
They're definitely a big improvement off of the resource drive paints. Those were like fine, but not like nothing that was really worth the grind.
Most of the Hurston and ArcCorp ones from Resource Drive are like completely horrible.
Yeah.
Hurston, it's like the Raft and the Zeus paint that look good.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Spaceship, what'd you think about Alliance Aid so far for what you've got to play of it?
It's nice to have a goal to work towards again. It's always nice having that. I like the backstories that come along with it. I always think they're pretty interesting. And I like how it I say easily, but easier than other events this one is. Like Waffle was saying, he was able to complete it in a fraction of the time as Resource Drive. So that helps out players like me who aren't able to play Star Citizen as a full-time job. So I definitely think it's a positive addition, and I look forward to completing it in the days to come.
Yeah, I think kind of overall to sum all that up, CIG is clearly learning from all of the events and stuff that they've been running, and they're kind of refining their process. They're reducing their workload in creating each event. They're not doing as much kind of custom work as they might have done in the past, while still doing enough to make the event feel alive. And with them switching to a bi-monthly patch cadence for this year, if they can keep doing different events and stuff, more or less monthly, I think it'll keep the game feeling just as fresh as it did in during last year. But yeah, I think they did a really good job this year of mixing kind of the lore implications, as kind of Akoree pointed out. It feels more, diegetically impactful rather than just news articles telling you that it's impactful. You actually see it quite a bit more in the verse, and the variety of missions I felt was certainly improved as opposed to Resource Drive and other prior events. But I think in the future they're going to be doing quite a bit better with these things, and I'm looking forward to the to whatever they pull out next, hopefully in a couple months. So Alliance 8 obviously wasn't the only thing that 4.6 brought. Obviously there was LAMP, which I think everybody unanimously loves LAMP and wishes that it was on more ships, but it also brought a new ship, the RSI Hermes. The ship that everybody and their mother was asking for after the Apollo came out was awesome, but ultimately not that useful. Starting with Spaceship, have you got to fly a Hermes yet?
I believe I've walked through one. I know I've spent some time in the Apollo, but it's definitely a good medium freighter. I think it'll be on par with like the Raft. Especially for those who like the RSI aesthetic.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree with that. Waffle, what you think about the Hermes?
I love it.
don't need to say a whole lot more, I think. Akoree, what you think of, or we have more to say, Waffle?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was surprised at how capable of a combat ship it is. Like for PvE contracts, like it can really punch up. But only having 4 size 4s, it has a lot of size 2 missiles, and I just put 4 ballistic Gatling guns on it, and it's actually really fun to just go do like HRTs and stuff with, and just beam stuff. It's awesome.
Leave it to Waffle to take like a cargo ship, and the first thing he does with it is HRTs. Right?
I think that's right.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Akoree, what do you think about the Hermes?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be he's the contrarian of the group or anything. I deeply dislike the old RSI design. I love their new angular ships. I love the Perseus. I love the Polaris, the Scorpius, all of that jazzy, even the Zeus. But like the old cockpit design to me is just like I find it very distasteful. I don't like it. It's great that it brings some visual variety, right, to the ship lineups that we have. I think that's something Star Citizen does well, is that every ship is just so visually distinct that you can immediately tell what it is from its general shape. So not every shape can be the angular design that I like, but to me, like the whole cockpit thing with the big struts, that like completely invalidates it for me. It's the same reason why I really don't like the Constellation line in general. That and also their no, I don't think I like anything about the Constellations. I know it's one of those ships that are revered in the community because like it's got a lot of history, and I completely respect that, but it's not a ship that I find visually appealing at all.
Some NS members will definitely be at your throat for that one.
Hey, you know what? There are a lot of opinions out there, and that is certainly one of them. But no, and that's, you know, it is the Apollo is an older ship in lore. It's an older ship through Star Citizen's developments. I don't remember when the concept came out, but it is a good number of years ago. It's an old ship as far as the concept goes. The body of it is, you know, kind of rather angular if you look at, you know, the engine design, kind of the paneling on it, but you make your way towards the front of the ship and it's, you know, it's rather blunt, you know, when you put it next to something like the Zeus and the Polaris and the Perseus and all of that stuff. So it is, you know, visually distinct. I think kind of visually, it's not my favorite ship in the verse visually. I like it, but it's, you know, I'm not going to say that, okay, that's a better looking ship than the Perseus. No. Using it though for cargo missions, oh, it's lovely. I love it. If you need, you know, the raft is wonderful. I like the comparison to the raft. But the raft, you know, your cargo is just exposed. You ain't got any pants on. You're showing everything off. And the Hermes has the advantage of keeping everything internal. And also the price is $200.
$30 price difference from the raft after it went up. Raft is now $190.
And good.
I don't think the raft is a good option anymore. I think in-game raft absolutely amazing, right? And I love the raft for its contributions in resource drive specifically, right? That's the ship that got most people through it. But the Hermes having, what is it, almost 100 SCU more for $30.
Yeah, 288, I think.
Yeah, compared to, what is it, 192?
Yeah.
Or 196, something like that.
Something like that.
It's definitely, I think you're going to be hard pressed to actually find a reason to go with the raft these days, other than you don't visually like the Hermes.
I think there's something to be said about kind of the sheer practicality of the raft. You just park the butt up against a freight elevator and just slap cargo containers. I mean, you're not like having to put it through a door. You just kind of yeet them and it works. Like the raft is insanely practical. But I feel like if you were, you know, maybe doing longer range cargo runs from Castra to Stanton, you got to go through Pyro or Nyx. There might be a big benefit to having that cargo kept inside of the ship as opposed to hanging off the bottom. If you're doing, you know, inter-system cargo runs or intra-system cargo runs where you're just going from Hurston to Microtech to Crusader, you know, Stanton to Terra, even, the raft is, you know, perfectly viable and a lot faster, you know, probably in a lot of cases. I think the Hermes is a really, really good addition to the cargo vehicle lineup. You know, aside from the fact that it can't hold a medical Ursa, which apparently ruins the entire ship for a lot of people. So I don't fucking get that.
I have a question about it though. For those who've used it, like I keep on seeing like complaints about the ramp size and everything, right? How difficult really is it to fit like a 32 SCU container through that door using the on-rail tractor beam?
I believe it's easy asterisk. The ship was basically designed around 32 SCU containers, so it can accept them really easily. The problem is that the on-rails tractor beam it's not really capable of rotating 32 SCU containers. So if you get wonky with the alignment of a 32 SU container, you're in for a world of hurt. If you use like a max lift, though, the ship works phenomenally around 32 SU containers.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I was looking at that and I was like, wait, can you even rotate using that cannon? Like, cause that has
Yeah,
you know,
not with the on
I
rails
will
one.
add,
It's probably
I
a
will
bug
add
though.
that it's not compatible really with the atlases. That if you want to look for a negative with it, honestly, that's probably the biggest thing I would highlight. Is it's really not tall enough to use the atlases properly internally, and even externally, you're not threading it through the gap, right?
Yeah, the Atlas kind of suffers from the same issue where you can't rotate the containers in transit. You can change how they're rotated when they're placed, but you can't like hold them and rotate them. So really, when it comes, you can.
Yeah, if you just hold R and rotate, like it'll rotate while it's hovering above you as well.
Oh, well. In any case, I don't think the Atlas is a good choice, like you said. If you're flying a Hermes, use a couple max lifts. I mean, have you and a friend use max lifts, and you will, murder some cargo missions with that thing. I think it's a solid ship. It's probably my favorite cargo hauler that was added. It was a $25 Warbond CCU for my Zeus CL, which was my primary daily driver, and now the Hermes is my primary daily driver. And I freaking love it. Moving on, the patch 4.6 in general, before we move on to 4.7. How's kind of the patch been playing overall? Stability wise, issues wise. I know there's been an issue with persistent hangars getting deleted at primary residences. How have y'all kind of found the general stability of the patch? I'll start with Akoree on that one.
For the time that I had to play it, right? Because like as we are recording this, it's only been about a week, right? Not even a week.
Something like that. Yeah, not even a week.
Yeah. I think so far it's been fine. The biggest issue I've had are the hangars over at my starting station, which is Levski. If I try to call a hangar and go in, it's basically a gamble if I'm going to go inside my hangar normally, or it's going to randomly relocate me, leave the ship there, and destroy it. So that's like possibly the most annoying thing. Otherwise, in terms of stability, it's been great for me. I think it revitalized like the whole org and everyone's desire to play recently, right? No, like I think everyone was just on the edge, like, oh shit, I want to play Star Citizen, but like 4.5 is broken as fuck.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, 4.6 it's a lot more stable. I can play if I want to, but there's also the looming, the shadow of a wipe that does, I think, still kill some motivation for a lot of people. We'll see how it progresses. But otherwise, my review of the patch it's positive. It's a good one so far.
Waffle, opinions on 4.6 bugginess, stability issues.
I am one of the victims of the missing personal hangar. It disappeared not 15 seconds after I finished Alliance Aid. And haven't had it since. I've tried all of the mayhaps workarounds that are posted, the one that you vouch behind, which is claim all your ships elsewhere and do a character repair, and sometimes that fixes it. Tried it, hasn't worked. Other than that though, the Levski issues, I envy those. I feel really bad for those who have picked Levski as their home location this patch. Look at it. It's horrible over there.
Yeah. And no one could have known prior to the patch dropping either, so you kind of just
none of these issues happened on PTU, which is the biggest thing. We always get a few bugs like this that are pretty bad that sneak through PTU.
Yep.
It's just definitely frequency of players, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, in terms of the Alliance Aid missions, majority of them work really, really well, as opposed to Resource Drive yet again, where they were having stability issues constantly. The actual missions this patch seem to be pretty good. Sharing servers are a bit balked because everybody's
Doing
mass
it, yeah.
sharing in massive parties, but overall, I'd say the patch is. I want to give it a 7 out of 10 because there are bugs that are affecting me personally. A little bit of bias.
Fair enough. Yeah. Spaceship, you've probably had the least amount of playtime on the patch as opposed to the rest of us. What's your experience been?
It's actually been pretty good. As far as Star Citizen itself goes, I've not really had any major game-breaking issues. I've had a couple issues with Alliance Aid, but I mean, I have issues with every event in some way. There's always some bug. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. Like I think on a Cargo Friday, we were unable to turn in cargo for the contract. It wouldn't accept it, and then I've had some auto loading issues with the whole C. But I mean, we've had those since the daggum thing dropped.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nothing abnormal, I would say, for the game. So I'm not really holding it against them by any means. But as far as the patch goes, I'm getting back into the game. I'm less burnt out on it. I'm excited to play it again.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common sentiment. I think that my experience with it has been overall rather positive. I think the single most annoying bug that I've found, aside from the hangars at Levski kicking you out, is the fact that the cargo missions for Alliance 8 do not, like, you can't submit partial loads like you could with Resource Drive. So if I'm loading 72 cryopods onto my Hermes and one of them happens to fall through the floor of the freight elevator, my entire 2 hours of effort is just down the drain. That sucks. But aside from that, which sucks, but I think everything else by and large, this patch is good. Everybody really should have been expecting that when CIG got back to putting features into the game, that there would be a hit on stability. And I cannot wait to see all the fuckery that crafting and later on base building adds to the game. I'm sure a great many things will break. But with that, let's move on to 4.7. We don't know a whole lot about 4.7. If I pull up the CIG roadmap, we get some hairstyles, some armor sets, some new points of interest around Nyx. Notably missing is the Nyx 1. Some more missions in Nyx, some new Wicklow ships, and the headline feature currently is the QV Breaker Stations, which is the Rock Cracker event that we first got revealed to us at CitizenCon last year. Based on what we know about Rock Cracker and its event, I think this will be probably some shorter talking points for these. It seems to be kind of a combat mining event, almost like a line and mine, but ship-based FP. It's one of the events that's coming up. It's not one that I've been the most hyped for personally, but I'll definitely engage with it when it releases. Spaceship, what do you think about the upcoming Rock Cracker event, based on what you know about it?
I'm not big into combat, but I'm always open to try new things. And it'll give us something to do, as a group to be able to, accomplish these new event missions. So definitely looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes.
Waffle?
Biggest concern for me is what the minables are going to be. Are we going to get another exclusive mineable inside this Rock Cracker event, or is it just going to be the rare and valuable stuff that we see elsewhere that's going to be important for crafting down the line in much higher quantities and maybe much higher purities, and maybe grades as well, like much higher grades once crafting's out?
Yeah,
to me it seems like the latter would be better.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that CIG will try to squeak crafting into 4.7. I'm not committed to that idea, but I'm kind of fingers crossed for it. That way they can make the the Rock Cracker event kind of tie into that's where you get the highest grade materials, but avoiding it being things like Karenite, where you can still only get that at Hathor. Every time I see a Wicklow ship with Karenite listed in it, I roll my eyes. Akoree, what you think about upcoming Rockcracker?
Oh, I hate it. No. I'm actually very excited about it. Anything that has combined arms, generally I love. I watched a video about the conference just a few days ago again, but I still don't remember if they said that, because they meant I think it was for this, right, where they mentioned something sends a signal, but I don't remember if I'm just misremembering when the sentence was said. Because when I think about it, it's like, oh, it sends a signal out and it tells everyone in the system that you're doing this. Is that what it means? Or
I think I remember something about that. Yeah.
yeah, right. Like maybe like I'd have to go and rewatch it, right? I don't want to send out like some fake info or anything, but it does play a part in how excited I am about it. If it will like bring PvP encounters, because I think that was one of the greatest things about Hathor was the PvP aspect to it, but I think it was poorly calibrated, right? It's a long ass event that takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of people to complete sometimes. But also, someone can swoop in with a bigger fleet just a bit later and completely invalidate everything you've been doing, destroy the batteries, etc., etc., etc. I hope that if it's a PvP focused event, it finds a sweet spot where, okay, yes, it's quick to do initially, but the risky part is the collection, or it's fully PvE, you're at a random station somewhere in the belt, and nobody's gonna bother you while you're there with your crew. But in general, right. I do think that Waffle brings a good thing, a good observation with like, oh, what's gonna be inside those asteroids? Is it going to be something new that we exchange to Wicklow? Maybe.
Please no.
I hope not, man. I hope not.
Maybe.
I think that there's a couple ways that they could, they could do this event. I think the PvP balancing. I hope CIG have learned a lot around Stormbreaker and Hathor. Because Stormbreaker, obviously, that's not really a PvP event as intended. Now everybody treats it as such, and everyone who's done it knows how frustrating it is to spend an hour and a half killing the worm, just to have some guy with a P6 murder your entire team right as you're beginning extraction and then take all of your loot. Similar kind of deal with Hathor, where you spend an hour aligning the laser, firing it, you go and finally open the cave, and then Timmy with the friendly A2 comes in and sends you back to your last spawn point.
Leave Timmy alone.
I think if CIG can do something to where there's like crap tons of these breaker stations in the Glacium Ring, you can pick any number of them, so you're not really going to be come across by at random very often. That way you can get there, you can do the mission, all that stuff relatively in peace, as just fighting the NPCs. And then you hit the button to open the rock, and maybe that generates kind of like an equivalent of the SCM alerts when someone would take down a Akoree in Stanton, and it's like, hey, these people just fired this laser, go get it. And that way, once you hit the button, now you should expect trouble. And that way you can kind of plan your defenses and all of that stuff. And then maybe you've got 5-10 minutes before players start showing up. That's 5-10 minutes to try to extract everything you can and get out, which a really skilled mining team, maybe they can do that. So yeah, I'll kind of gloss over the talking points we had for the salvage mole and crafting, because I would like to spend a little bit more time on our final topic. But here's hoping that 4.7 brings that salvage mole would be nice, or that comes out in 4.6, doesn't it?
Salvage Mode.
I think. Yeah.
They have it slated for mid 4.6.
Huh.
Currently, they said that we should be seeing it within weeks of the last behind the ships, I think. Or sorry, the last Inside Star Citizen.
Well, that would be
months.
that would be excellent, because having something in between a Vulture and a Reclaimer is something I've been desperately wanting, since it actually seems like salvage is in a better state in 4.6 as opposed to more recent patches. And then, of course, the proverbial crafting. I really hope that snakes its way into 4.7. But who really knows at this point? They've only done one very brief tech preview, so I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 4.8. Well, they did one and it didn't work at all, so they shut it down after what felt like 5 minutes, and then they did it again for a day or two, I think.
It was 8 hours.
8 hours. And I mean, they did a similar thing. They did a small handful of engineering tech previews that were very brief. Except I believe those were open to everybody, or wave 1. And then it ended up in the next patch. So I really don't know. Crafting is, one of those things where I think it's super impactful to the game. But unlike engineering, if crafting comes in and is broken, it doesn't necessarily grind the entire game to a halt. At least I hope. Yeah.
I think the big thing for CIG here is to implement it and not take away the reliance on other features like Wicklow straight away to get FPS weapons and gear. As much as I hate Wicklow, don't make all of this stuff immediately only obtainable through crafting. People are going to want to do crafting either way.
Yeah. I think crafting, kind of the way CIG seems to be setting it up, is that crafting is going to be a way for players to get access to slightly better versions of the gear they already have. And also importantly, it's a way to get back your subscriber and pledge items that you lose, because they're going to go back to, you lose everything when you die. You don't wake up in the hospital bed with a full set of gear. You wake up in your hospital gown once again, but now instead of, oops, your pledge stuff is gone, you get to craft more. And I prefer that personally. But it takes time for them to kind of balance that and get it right, of course. Does anybody have any thoughts that they want to give on crafting before we move on to our final topic?
Crafting is going to change the game, and I can't wait for it.
Hell yeah.
What Akoree said.
Yeah. Spaceship?
I agree with Akoree. I'm excited. Can't get here fast enough.
Hell yeah. All right. Our final topic for today is people that are more in tune with the kind of the general gaming community. This isn't Star Citizen related, but it is tangentially related. Is the failure of a MMO known as Ashes of Creation. A lot, and I'll start this with a story of kind of what the deal is, because I know not everybody listening or present is super up to speed on what Ashes of Creation is or was. But it was basically an ambitious MMO set in kind of the Skyrim era, old medieval style stuff. And it had a Kickstarter that ran in 2017. The Kickstarter saw, I think it was $3 million, something like that. It was very successful for that. And they built a studio in 2018 and started development on the game. The director of this game, as in the Kickstarter and through the years of its development, I'm not going to say his name because I don't remember it, if I'm being honest.
It's a Sir Stephen Sharif. This is
yeah, Mr. Sharif. He made a lot of promises during Ashes of Creation's development. And there were a couple small controversies. There were a lot of promises made. They made similar claims to some of the things that Star Citizen had going through the earlier stages of its development, such as not being beholden to a publisher, not being beholden to a board of directors, being able to kind of forge their own path, go their own way, take their time, do all of that stuff. So they made their money. They made their money through the Kickstarter. They hunkered down, and got to work. Now, Sharif has kind of an interesting background. He isn't exactly the most experienced game developer or game director. They finally actually published the game in early access in December of 2025, about 2 months ago. Little less than 2 months ago. This is in an alpha early access state, and it released to relative high numbers. They had about 32,000 players concurrently at its peak in January, 12 days ago. About 12 to 15 days ago, kind of the trouble started. There were rumors going around that developers were being laid off. There were, it kind of draws some parallels to Kerbal Space Program 2, perhaps, for those that followed that game. And the studio, Intrepid Studios, kind of started on their damage control basically immediately, saying that they only laid off 9 of the 250 employees that were developing Ashes of Creation, and that, quote, they are continuing and the team remains actively engaged on the project. That would unfortunately age like milk when 4 days ago, the director, Sharif, published a letter to the players about the state of the game and about its future. And he had included in that letter the phrase, among many other things, but was the phrase of "foundations sometimes must be reworked." It's rather ominous considering what would happen days later. On the 1st of February, so now we're 2 days ago, there were mass layoffs throughout the company. If you look at the LinkedIn page for Intrepid Studios, almost all of the key developers are now working somewhere else or not at all. And then, after that whole kind of thing was uncovered and the community, began to explode, Sharif posted a Discord message in the Discord server about having resigned from Intrepid Studios. And a lot of that was due to him. He said some stuff about the balance of power shifting. He mentioned a board of directors, which, if we remember to earlier, that was one of the things that he said he was not beholden to a publisher or a board of directors. Well, now he said the balance of power shifted away from him, and he felt it best to resign. And when he did that, the vast majority of key developers in the project followed, which basically has canceled the game in effect. Not officially from Intrepid, but with more or less all of the key development staff of this game gone. The future of the game is dubious at best. There were also some company internal emails that were leaked that said stuff like due to the company's financial situation, payroll will not be processed. That was for the 1st of February. And that stuff like their insurance benefits might lapse. And so basically it looks like they ran out of money. Pretty classic scenario. The Kickstarter had a clause in there that if the game did not launch, they would fully refund everybody who invested in the project. And that would include the 5 people that bought a $10,000 Kickstarter package that included flying out to the development studio, having dinner with the dev team, and multiple other things that will never happen. So kind of the thought that comes at that point is, did They know that they were going downhill financially. And did they launch the game in early access, run it for 2 months, and then close the studio just so that they could say, well, the game launched, and now they're not beholden to that Kickstarter promise of a refund? Where all of this goes is that a lot of people through the gaming community at a whole have been drawing parallels to how Ashes of Creation might reflect upon Star Citizen, how they might look similar in some regards. That Star Citizen is also, at its beginning was a Kickstarter project. Obviously, it's at a much larger scale now. But, Ashes of Creation has highlighted the inherent risks of backing a project, Kickstarter, crowdfunding, all of that stuff. And, what do we think? I'll start with Akoree. What do we think that Ashes of Creation kind of means, if anything, for Star Citizen, for how the community should look at projects like Star Citizen, how this kind of whole Kickstarter early access model should be treated in the future? Like, what's your read on the situation? What does it mean to you?
Well, first of all, I think it's you did your homework, dude. That was pretty much on point. I've been following Ashes of Creation a lot because it's I'm also a big generalist MMO player. I often play a lot of fantasy MMOs, so it was on my radar as one of those. This is the good old days of MMOs are coming back, and I think it's easy to draw those parallels to Star Citizen because it's a crowdfunded MMO. It says it's ambitious. It's made by someone that makes a lot of promises, can't always keep them, and it has controversies, obviously, right? I think the biggest difference, though, between Star Citizen and Ashes of Creation that makes me not really worry about Star Citizen is that Ashes of Creation was genuinely not offering anything new. Ashes of Creation was basically another MMO called Arcade, but newer. So they had a very niche audience on top of that, like the audience for fantasy MMOs that are purely sandbox, purely about the economy, and a bit of combat, like a bit of raids and dungeons and whatever. That community is not as big as the community that plays World of Warcraft, right? It's a subset of players. I think that their monetization system was obviously not working. A lot of people criticize, rightly, CIG for their aggressive monetization. But I think if their monetization and the price of their ships wasn't what it is, we might have had a similar situation happen with CIG, where I think like what's being assumed in the background here, right, is that they had to get investors and create a board of directors for Ashes of Creation, and that eventually backfired because those people weren't ready to wait as long as the players themselves. And it seems like they were asking for the project to shift to different things, including launching on Steam. I think it's going to cause a lot of people to maybe look at Star Citizen and be like, are they going to fall into the same hole? But with Star Citizen, we know what's going on in the background. We have access to a lot of their finances. We know things are going well. So I don't have the same worry as I think some people who aren't as hooked in as we are might have. But yeah, just to give a quick gist of how I felt about Ashes of Creation, though, because I did buy and play it on Steam. It wasn't it. It had decent combat, but it still felt rough. And ultimately, it didn't feel transformative as it would have needed to be for it to be like the fantasy equivalent of Star Citizen, because Star Citizen is an incredibly unique and ambitious project. Ashes of Creation wasn't.
Yeah. And I'll actually add a couple more pieces of or a couple more details, particularly about some of the controversies that were about this game that I forgot to mention earlier, because my general like topic list for this podcast was 13 lines. And then my notes for AOC was 43 lines. So a couple of the things I had forgotten to mention. During the Kickstarter process of this game, before they had shipped an actual product, they did a referral program with content creators, where content creators that promoted the game, again, game that does not exist yet, they promoted the game and got purchases. These creators would get a 15% kickback from each referral as either premium currency or straight cash when the game launched. That is against Kickstarter terms of service, and they caused a big controversy, and they had to roll back on that. Further, when the game launched on Steam, it launched at a price of $50. And if you go to the Steam page now, you cannot buy it anymore. It is it's not delisted, like the game servers are still up, but you physically can't buy the game anymore on Steam.
Yeah. Another thing too is that you know how to like everyone mentions how like expensive Star Citizen ships are, right? But you can still just get a starter package and play the game. Ashes of Creation,
$45.
yeah, Ashes of Creation for most of its lifetime before Steam, you needed to dish out like $200, $300, or $400 to get into the alphas, minimum. I think that definitely held them back a lot, because there wasn't a lot of people who had their eyes on it because of that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of you can contrast a lot of the scam, failed, and I don't think Ashes of Creation was a scam. I think it was just simply a kind of commercial failure, financial failure. I don't think it was a scam. The difference with Star Citizen, right, is for its entire creation, for its entire existence, you could get, for $45, you could get access to a basic ship and the entirety of the video game for the rest of time. It's not a subscription. There was no pay more to get access to other things. I mean, you could say like the Wave 1 stuff with the subscription, but like that is an access period of generally days right now, sometimes hours, to like a week tops. That gets you like early access. And it's generally not even early access to stuff that you actually want to play. And you can earn access to those things simply by being active in the issue council and playing the game frequently. So you don't even have to spend money. To keep the ball rolling, with all of that discussion, Waffle, what do you think?
So, for me with Ashes of Creation, I don't follow RPGs like the typical fantasy RPGs and MMOs and stuff, so I knew of the project, I'd heard the name before, but for me, like, it kind of crashing and burning kind of came out of complete left field for me.
It did for everybody.
Hearing about it and how it differs from Star Citizen, especially from what Akoree's just said, I think the people that are interested in Star Citizen that haven't got it yet are who this is really going to affect. If anyone is going to be, or if there's going to be any effect at all from this, it's just going to be those people that are kind of teetering on the edge of getting Star Citizen, that are like, look what happened to this other game. But if you look at the facts, like Akoree and yourself mentioned, Cepheus, CIG's been very, very open with their finances. They tell us how much they earn every year off of pledge sales, and they tell us how much they spend, right? And we know that at least 10% of what they make, they keep, like they just bank, and they have that on standby. not in some CEO's pocket or some executive's pocket for personal use, but like the actual company has it banked in case of an emergency like this would happen, right? They've got an emergency fund. And to me, if Star Citizen was going to do something like this, it would have done it in like 2019, 2020, right? That, to me, is when this could have happened. I think they're too big now for this to realistically happen, and they're in too much of the spotlight. Like, all the devs that are involved in this, it pretty much ruins their career if this fails.
Yeah. I sit along that line of thinking. You know, I've heard from people that I've talked to that are maybe skeptical about Star Citizen, that are like, oh well, you know, what if it like closes tomorrow? Are you gonna be Are you gonna be pissed off about the $5,000 that you spent on the game? And I'm like, it's not. It's too big to fail, in the sense of like the same way that Ashes of Creation did, where Ashes of Creation went from fine and on track to effectively defunct in less than 2 weeks. I don't think that's possible to happen with Star Citizen, unless there's some greater world catastrophe that happens. If Star Citizen were to fail, and that is a huge if, because I mean, I'm personally very biased towards Star Citizen, of course, but I think if Star Citizen were to somehow fail, it would be a very slow decline over probably multiple years. Yeah, go ahead.
To add as well, I do think that Ashes of Creation's at this point failure, right, does kind of put the final nail in the coffin for Kickstarter as a whole. Kickstarter recently hasn't, like for games anyway, I want to specify, Kickstarter hasn't been really all that popular in the public eye, Star Citizen being a main kind of thing, but Star Citizen at the same time was one of the first projects that really took off on Kickstarter. It was where a lot of the popularity for putting a project that you wanted to do as an indie dev on this platform and getting funding that way, of like saying what you want to do. Star Citizen was one of the first to do it, and one of the first to do it well. But we saw that kind of era through, I want to say, 2015 to 2016, 2017, where there was these tons of these really, really ambitious Kickstarter projects that came up and went down, and a lot of them have failed. There are a very finite few that are still running, and I do think that Star Citizen has and always will be the biggest of these few. But in terms of these projects, the ones that are going and the ones that have sufficient funding, they might die, they might not, but I don't think there's going to be any new big games that come from Kickstarter. It's only going to be projects that are already in the works. I think gaming from Kickstarter is functionally dead, because the trust in like Kickstarter games and them being scams was effectively none already, right? And this just kind of furthers that. So I do think people are going to steer well clear of Kickstarter these days.
Yeah. And I mean, also, it's one of my favorite facts to point out is that Star Citizen is, kind of depending on how you categorize it, Star Citizen is the most successful crowdfunding project out of anything in history. Like, ever, period. Technically, you could say that there's like one blockchain project that raised a little bit more, but I don't really count that. For like something that made a tangible product, Star Citizen raised 3 times more than like freaking U-Haul. And fun fact, there's a like U-Haul investors club where you can invest in U-Haul and all of that. It's actually kind of interesting. Anyway, Spaceship, thoughts on Ashes of Creation, its relation to Star Citizen, what it means for the gaming sphere?
Yeah, I think you guys touched on pretty much all the major bullet points there. It's hard to compare the two games because they've been handled very differently throughout their development process. Star Citizen's had major success And at this point, it can't really fail in a sense. It can fail to deliver on the promises that they've made, especially from where it's at now. But I mean, at this point, you've got a game currently. I mean, you can play it, you can accomplish goals, and you can have fun. Whereas Ashes of Creation seems to have been a little bit different development process and in a different stage of development too. And so I think it's something to be wary of for other new games, but as far as like Star Citizen goes, I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I think it would be interesting to one day get like some sort of a documentary or a post-mortem on Ashes of Creation and its development studios. Sharif posted on, I think it was either Discord or Twitter one day, in response to something that a fan had said. I forget what now, but he commented that, it was about the Ashes of Creation had a lawsuit going for like $860,000 or something like that. And Sharif commented that the daily operating expenses. Weekly.
He said weekly.
He said weekly?
Weekly, yes.
Weekly operating expenses for Ashes of Creation was $800,000. And they only raised it less than $4 million with the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that, and then sales of the game, of course. It's not a huge surprise why they kind of ran out of money. And I'm sure they had some investors in that board of directors, but that seems to have sealed their fate.
I that's one of the informations he gave out that I'm like, I have a hard time believing, because I don't know how massive Intrepid Studio was, but like weekly,
250 people.
Like weekly expensive. That's a lot. Like
that is.
That's like $1.6 million every 2 weeks if they have a bi-weekly pay. It's a bit over $3 million per month. Like, there's no way that game was making that much money. There was no way. Like, that requires a lot of sales. There's no way they were getting that many sales. I don't think... One of the things you guys might not know is that they also sold cosmetic packs, right? As in, like, a bit of an incentive. It's something that Path of Exile also does. But the cosmetic in Path of Exile are insanely cool. They're those really unique armor that you can have on your character, pets, like mobilia for your base, stuff like that. I looked at the store in Ashes of Creation, and at no point was I even tempted to give any amount of money to it, because it just was so flat, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to diminish their creative team or anything. If anything, I think there was probably a lot of talent at that studio. It has to be terrible to just lose everything in the matter of a few hours. And I have a lot of empathy for those developers and also the backers, right? Like, we're sitting here, Star Citizen players, things are fine for us, but like, we could very well be in their shoes.
Absolutely.
I think it's really important to like look at those players and be like, man, it fucking sucks for you guys, and I'm sorry. We obviously can't go to them and say like, hey, okay, your game didn't work, come play Star Citizen. It's not the same kind of game.
Yeah, they're so different. They're so different. Yeah.
If it was an Eve player, maybe, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like someone crashed their motorcycle, and you're like, man, that sucks. Here, come buy a semi truck. And it's like, right. It's so uncomparable. It just doesn't. They're both video games, and the similarities about stop there. Mm-hmm. But well, to wrap things up. No particular order. Does any, what closing thoughts on kind of the whole everything we talked about today. You know, Waffle 4.6, 4.7, Ashes of Creation, the downfall of crowdfunding as a model of creating video games. You know, closing thoughts.
4.6, I think, is a step in the right direction to begin the year. That said, they need to stop releasing December patches that are this experimental new feature that breaks the entire game.
I can't wait for base building in December of 2026.
Oh yeah, same. 4.7 has a lot of potential. I hope there's actually more content than 4.6. Aside from Alliance Aid, like for me, I would put Rockcracker, Rockbreaker, whatever you want to call it, on par with Alliance Aid, right? I know it's Rockbreaker isn't going to be a limited time event, whereas Alliance Aid is going to go away, and these awards are going to be, at least on the like pledge inventory side of things, unobtainable after this, right? They might be obtainable in game afterwards, who knows? So as long as there's more content than this patch, I will be okay with 4.7. Crafting would be a really, really big thing, even if they implement it in a very experimental and buggy state. I want to see that beginning kind of hit live and then them work off of it in subsequent patches, rather than it just be it's not there and then it's there, you know. Ashes of Creation. I think if you were thinking of posting a game on Kickstarter for crowdfunding, good luck. It's probably not going to happen anymore. Overall, like, I sympathize with the players. If that happened to Star Citizen, I would be fucking livid.
Oh yeah.
But I think if you kind of look at the signs and what the game is, and especially their finances, like, I don't know how open their finances were, but 800,000 a week when they raised, what was it, like 4-point-something million on Kickstarter?
Yeah, not enough.
That's a stupid burn rate. Like, I think the only reason CIG burns more than that a week is because they have, at this point, well over 1,000 staff members.
Yeah.
So.
And they're raising that much. I mean, you know, whenever the Idris goes on sale, they make $1 million in an hour.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
I think the last Idris wave that they dropped, they made, I think it was $3 million in the span of 2 minutes.
Good lord. Well, yeah. Akoree, thoughts on everything? Closing thoughts.
I also agree, man. It's a good start to the year so far. Like, definitely the December patches, that needs to stop happening. The like January, I feel it's so drab every year now. Like, everyone's demotivated to play, despite having something really cool added to the game, right? Dude, engineering's fucking awesome. But it's starting well, right? We're stabilizing now, and we're gonna add features as well. Crafting gonna be huge. I think we need to make an episode only on crafting in the future if we continue these. And Ashes of Creation, heart goes out to the players. I hope that someone tries to save it the same way someone's trying to save New World right now, and we'll see what's gonna happen. But yeah, I think that's a chapter closed for that game.
Yeah. Spaceship, closing thoughts on everything?
Yeah, so 4.6 is a great start at redemption for 4.5. It's brought a lot of people back into the game, brought a lot of motivation back into the game. I myself am significantly less burnt out and am extremely excited to work on AA and, just getting back into Star Citizen in general. And everything on the horizon for 4.7 is just awesome and exciting, and I'm looking forward to all of it. This game is, in a much better place than I would have thought it was a year ago. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the future. As far as Ashes of Creation goes, it sucks to see a game that people invested a lot into, have it fail. I mean, it would be the same as if Star Citizen failed. We'd all be very disappointed. A lot of us would be very upset, especially those who have sank a lot of money into this game. It sounds like there was quite a few people who did the same with that. So it's unfortunate. I think it gonna set the tone for crowdfunding in the future, and it's unfortunately a chapter closed. But I think in the future we'll have another chapter open that'll bring good results as well. I mean, Star Citizen can't be the only success story.
I'd agree on all points. I think that, yeah, we're definitely kicking off the year right with the first patch 4.6. It benefits the game a lot and has benefited Northern Star a lot in its activity. It's very good seeing activity back up, kind of to where it was more during 4.4 and the like. Ashes of Creation, that situation is definitely rough. It's unfortunately not heard of. We had a very similar thing happen with Kerbal Space Program 2, although that was not a Kickstarter. It was a game that a lot of people, including myself, put, $45, $50, whatever it was, into it, and then it promptly got about 3 updates, and then the studio, effectively was closed. That game, though, is still for sale on Steam. And it's never going to get another update, most likely. I think that it's kind of, as has been stated, Ashes serves as a warning to gamers about buying into crowdfunding projects. I thankfully think Star Citizen has kind of evolved beyond that. And I mean, the risk is always present, but it's, I think Star Citizen has kind of reached the critical mass where it can't just evaporate anymore. But for anybody considering backing a crowdfunding or any early access game in general, keep that in the back of your mind that you are paying money to play something that is a work in progress and may or may not be finished. And that includes Star Citizen at its most fundamental level. But, obviously with size comes safety, but never certainty. Overall, very good discussion. I want to thank Akoree, Spaceship, and Waffle for hanging out with me for this hour and whatever it was. And thanks to everybody who's listened all the way through our very first Northern Star podcast. And until a probable next time, we'll see you in the verse.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to look back on this in like 2 months and think how cringe it is.